All right, let's do some TikTok doom scrolling and just kind of give my takes on some of these guys. This is just all the favorites on TikTok that I've saved over the years and figured I'm going to compile a lot of these just to show you what I'm looking at.
What happens to your body when you cut out carbs? The changes are shocking but almost immediate. In the first few days, your body uses stored glycogen in your muscles and liver for energy, leading to rapid water weight loss, the scales going down, and your insulin drops, leading to fatigue, headaches, and dehydration. Then after 1 week, ketogenesis begins, where stored fat is converted into ketone.
If you've been doing this for a lot, it doesn't take 1 week to get into ketogenesis. Probably takes like a day, day and a half. But for someone just starting out, definitely over a week.
Ketones. And now after 2 weeks, your brain gets most of its energy from ketones, leading to a reduced appetite and hormonal mood swings. Finally, after 1 month, you have fully transitioned to a fat-burning state, and there's reduced inflammation. So do you think it's worth cutting out carbs? If you want to lose fat and live a healthy lifestyle, then follow for more.
So he's definitely right, but living that lifestyle is a little hard when you have a social life, including beers. So what I like to do is Monday through Friday, practice what he preaches. On weekends, I'll cheat, but I call it carb cycling. I'll get right back into ketosis in a few days. If not, when I do one of my 36-hour fasts once a month, I'll definitely get all the benefits that he's talking about. So he does look great, but doesn't look fun.
Is agave dangerous for your brain? Does it increase the risk of type 2 diabetes? So I recently made a video about sweeteners that don't spike your blood sugar and are not harmful for your brain. Here's a question I got.
I recently looked this up on TikTok because my sister and I were fighting on whether agave was healthy for you or not. And because of this, what you're going to hear, I said it wasn't. And she mentioned other benefits to it, which she happened to be right. So in my mind, we're both right. But check this out.
Will you please educate us on the benefits, cons of agave? So my name is Robert Leff. I'm a neuroscientist. I specialize in helping people prevent Alzheimer's disease with science. One of the best things you can do to protect your brain as your age and reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease is to not get type 2 diabetes. Alzheimer's disease is often referred to as type 3 diabetes. Natural sweeteners because it's natural. So agave. So what is agave? So agave is a natural sweetener. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good. And agave is what I would call it's a very high sugar food that's masquerading as a health food. Basically, agave is high in fructose. It's a natural food, but it's high in fructose. Fructose is very readily stored as fat by the body.
See, that's under debate because I always grew up thinking that fructose could not be stored as fat at all. So very interesting. That was over 10 years ago. So maybe that's debatable.
So basically, agave is very likely to be stored as fat compared to other forms of sugar like maple syrup that is not as high in fructose. Maple syrup also has magnesium in it. That's good. And then things like allulose, stevia, monk fruit sugar, these things don't even, they have fewer calories, much less likely to be stored as sugar. So the problem with agave, very high in fructose, very similar to high fructose corn syrup. This can spike your insulin, spike your blood glucose, and very readily stored as fat, similar to high fructose corn syrup.
So what my sister found, and we looked it up on Google, and it was true, that agave out of all the sugars has a real mid to low glycemic index, which means what this guy, Robert, is saying is that it spikes your insulin. Yeah, every food spikes your insulin. Doesn't mention how high. So agave overall has a mid to low glycemic index. Doesn't spike it that much, but I probably do believe that maybe fructose probably is more readily stored as fat. So I'll be watching out for this. But the whole reason we got into this is because we were trying to make a healthy protein ice cream. And what sugar do you add? And stevia and monk fruit just weren't cutting it. Didn't taste great. So you got to add a little bit of something. Honey might be okay. Maple syrup is disgusting in my opinion. So agave was the perfect thing. So I think if you're using just a little bit, it's probably fine.
So I don't recommend agave. It's also very expensive and it's not really healthy. If you're going to use a natural sweetener, grade B maple syrup, the dark maple syrup, much better for you. And then raw local honey, that can have health benefits as well.
Yeah, a lot of benefits of raw honey. And but also just honey probably mixes well with vanilla. It probably doesn't work with a lot of other things.
When you are in a fasted state, the longer you're there, the most famous study was out of MIT, 24-hour fast. You start to get these stem cells into the gut that repaired the gut. But when you're in a fasted state, these bad bacteria get starved out. And when they get starved out, there's an opportunity. Now, second thing is that first meal matters. That first door into your food matters. And if you bring in probiotic, prebiotic, polyphenol foods, my favorite thing to break a fast with for years was an avocado with sauerkrauts and hemp.
If your sole focus is weight loss while you're doing fasting, the first thing you want to put in is protein. Very simple, either a protein shake or a real lean cut of meat. I've discovered that. then an hour later, you can do everything she's saying. If you're not worried about that, then definitely agree with everything she's saying. You already did all the work to, clean house, get that autophagy, clean your gut, give it, prebiotics and probiotics.
Seeds on top of it. If you bring all of that in, now you're actually feeding those good bacteria and you're helping them grow. We see.
Yeah, that's great. That's all we need to hear.
To lose your belly fat, there are 3 tips that you need to know relating to doing intermittent fasting. And one of these tips is way more important than the others. Tip number 1, make sure you have enough sea salt, because if you don't have enough sea salt when you're doing fasting, you're going to have keto fatigue, you're going to feel tired and weak, and you're not going to be able to sleep.
Yeah, they call that the keto flu. It sucks. So, Celtic salt, I guess, is a little bit better than like Himalayan sea salt or the salt he's talking about. A little more expensive. But if you're drinking mountain spring water like I am, taken care of already. Or if you want to buy mountain spring water in bottles.
Tip number 2, do not go into this with any preset fasting schedule. Instead, let your appetite dictate how long you fast for. So in other words, if you're not hungry, don't eat. But the most important...
Yeah, I've learned to eat if I'm, for rapid weight loss, doing 2 meals a day with digestive enzymes. So make sure I get all that protein in. But I have learned from other fasting experts to change it up. So just like anything, your body gets used to the same routine. So I do agree that if you are going to be in this kind of intermittent fasting schedule, mix it up. So that's one way to do it. Just don't eat until you're hungry, but I still need to get my 2 meals if I'm trying to, bodybuild.
Tip I can give you is this: force your body to only burn belly fat 24/7 by reducing your carbs as close to 0 as possible. And the way that you do that is to combine meat with vegetables.
So he's just talking about the keto diet. That's all this guy talks about. I love Dr. Berg, by the way. He doesn't like cheating like I do.
Or there's the Norwegian 4x4. This is one of the best ways to improve your VO2 max. And that is where you go 4 minutes at an intensity that's pretty high that you can maintain and sustain for that entire 4 minutes. Usually it's about 85% max heart rate. So you're going pretty hard for the entire 4 minutes, as hard as you can maintain for the entire 4 minutes. And then you rest for 3 minutes.
Wow.
Rest as in low intensity, very low. You want your heart rate to come down. And then you do it, repeat so you do it 4 times. Or there's the Norwegian 4x.
Something to try, and that's something that I've been kind of focusing on, getting my VO2 max higher. It's not the greatest, even though I do a lot, I do once a week high intensity to build that mitochondria. If you don't practice it enough, your VO2 max isn't great. So all that work of building all that mitochondria count in your body, yet your body's not the greatest at, taking in oxygen fast enough so that those mitochondria can burn fat. So just another thing to think about.
Here are 6 options for coffee makers with minimal amount of plastic. Hey, my name is Beatrice. I'm the anti-plastic lady. I do all of this research on how to avoid plastic so you don't have to. So there's lots of different ways to get plastic-free coffee, except none of them are really automatic. A glass or stainless steel French.
Yeah, so I started getting into a thing of cutting plastic out of my life slowly. And this lady's really cool, anti-plastic lady. So she basically talks about all these different coffee pots that, I'm not trying to spend $1 million and redo the setup I got with a Keurig. So let me just skip to the part that's good here.
You don't have to buy a new machine at all. You can just get a universal coffee filter that's stainless steel. You can get one off of Amazon for like $12, okay? If you're in the market for a new coffee maker and you want to have a minimal amount of plastic, you have some good options out there today.
And she goes into the higher price coffee machines. But we bought that. Actually, I went on Amazon, typed in what she just said, and I found one that fit the Keurig K-Cup, my exact machine. We've been using it. It's so easy. So we just take all the K-Cups that we already have, cut them, dump them right in that stainless steel, recycle that plastic. And now we don't have to, I don't have to throw away all the Costco K-Cups that I have. From now on, I'll get the ground up beans or the beans and do it myself. And we also just got a stainless steel trap tea leaves for the same thing. They're talking about that all these cellulose and different substances that they use for these tea bag leaves are filled with microplastics and actually like worse than the K-Cup. So we got both of those. So I think that's enough doom scrolling for today. I'll keep doing this, dude. I have hundreds of saved files here on TikTok that I just figured this would be cool to put out there. So I'll just end it with this. If you want to learn more about me, check out my profile. I have this link in the bio. Over 40 Fitness Hacks School. This is where I put all my information. I have a classroom here. All of this is free to the first 100 people, and then I'll start increasing the price. So, get in while you can. But I do all this work 7 days a week. I'm a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer, gym owner for over 15 years. And now all I do is just education. So if you want to get to a spot that has everything in one, this is the school you need. Have a great one.